Hey, help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also, hit that like button to subscribe if you want more Cavs-focused content.
Being at the top is a great feeling. When the Cavs were at that top, it was a great feeling last year. We were sitting on that throne, making all these jokes, making fun of the Knicks. Oh, yeah, we sweeping the Knicks. Everybody's sweeping the Knicks. And now we ain't at the top no more. Now, the Detroit Pistons, with our own coach and Karis LeVert and a bunch of former Cavs, have taken that spot in the East, having a fantastic season, just fresh off of a win against Oklahoma City, had the day off, then they play the Cavaliers the next day. What has it been like in Detroit? Oh, let me first, before I even get into it, because some of y'all know, got my boy COTY
They should know by now.
Yeah, I'm about to say, got my boy COTY M. Davis. He covers the Detroit Pistons. COTY, what has happened to Detroit over the last couple? Is this just Cade Cunningham coming of age and then everything else following? Is this like a combination of guys here? I know that people have talked a lot about Jaden Duren. Like, what has gone into the growth of the Detroit Pistons as JB has gotten there the last 2 years?
Well, it starts with him, JB Bickerstaff, man. He came in and, given the fact how the way he left Cleveland and Quincy, the way he left Cleveland, it was kind of like, okay, was he let go fairly, unfairly, whatever the case might be? It was time for him. You could say it was time for him to move on, or it was time for the Cavs to move on. But he came to Detroit. He came to Detroit with a chip on his shoulder, and I really do believe that was the best thing to ever happen for the Pistons, especially with someone like Cade and JD, and at the time Jaden Ivey and Asar Thompson, Marcus Sasser, and all the rest of these guys, because if you go back and you remember the 2 seasons that they had prior to JB's arrival, I mean, the Pistons, they were by far the worst team in the league. And even though you knew they had talent, I don't know about you, but at the time I was in Houston, keeping my eye on what's going on in Detroit. And even I'm looking at all these young guys that they have, and I'm like, people are laughing. But what Cade said during that 28 game losing streak was true. We bad, but we not. I believe there was like 2-24. And he was like, we're not 2-24 bad. And people, laughed at that and and really thought that this was just a bad team, bad players or whatever. Majority of those young guys, I got an opportunity to study because at the time, like I said, I was in Houston. The Rockies, they were like in a bad situation as well. So a lot of these young prospects that the Pistons got, I already was kind of familiar with their game coming out of college and stuff. So it was like, okay, I know a lot of these young guys have a lot of promise and potential, but something isn't clicking. When JB got there with the chip on his shoulder, knowing that he has a lot of young players who literally wants to go out and prove that they are not, a laughing stock in the league, that they literally have the talent to be one of the most respectable teams in the league, it was basically like a perfect marriage. And JB needed Detroit at the time. Detroit needed JB at the time. And, last year, we all know the story. They went on one of the best one-year turnarounds in league history. They go from winning, 14 games to 44 games. They bypassed the play-in tournament. And, you end up playing a very close first-round series against the New York Knicks. So, from there, it's like, okay, well, how can you build upon this season? And that was my number one thing that I was going to look into going into this season, because we all know it. There's always this quote unquote Cinderella team that comes out of nowhere, makes the playoffs, get eliminated in the first, maybe the second round. And then next thing you know, they get kind of stagnant. And then 2-3 years go by and they literally never recapture that same magic, i.e., the Atlanta Hawks from 2021 when they made the Eastern Conference Finals. So you look at that standpoint, and you're like, okay, well, what are they going to do this year? Well, the only thing that they end up doing at the time of this record is standing at the top of the NBA at 43-14. I believe they have the best winning percentage in the league, second best record overall, trailing over only the Oklahoma City Thunder. And it's literally just Coach JB Bickerstaff's ability to put all his players in the best situation possible, and all of his players buying into JB Bickerstaff philosophies and literally finally tapping into the potential that we saw when they got drafted. Now we're looking at Cade Cunningham as a potential MVP, winner. You're looking at Jalen Durr, an all-star caliber player. Saw Thompson, one of the best two-way, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. We can go on and on and on. Even Jaden Ivey, before he went down with his leg injury, we all know that he's literally going through something mentally as of right now, trying to overcome, that horrific leg injury he had last year. But even he was starting to play at a near all-star talent. It's literally the guys buying into Coach JB Bickerstaff, and Bickerstaff literally putting together a system to get the best out of his players.
Yeah, I find you as one of the most fascinating people we could talk to and from a Cavs perspective, because not only do you cover the rival, right, Detroit Pistons, who the Cavs play, but also you covered James Harden for a very long time out there in Houston, right? And now James is a Cleveland Cavalier, and look, I only know the picture of James Harden that we've seen from the outside looking in, which is the narrative about James. I did not know what the experience was like when you're living with James day to day. And look, there's a lot of good stuff they don't tell you about James, man. like, I feel like it's one of those times where you feel like they tell you like a hotel haunted or something like that. And it's like, hey man, this hotel haunted or this house is haunted. But you go in, it's like, hey, they got granite countertops though. Like, it's nice in here. That's kind of what the James Harden experience has been like for the Cavs, because we have looked from the outside of this whole James thing. We know about the whole playoff choker thing, the team killer accusations that he has, the fat suit and all the goofy kind of James Harden stuff that's out there. What they don't tell you is like, hey, this is legitimately like a 75, an NBA 75 player. Like he is one of the best players ever. And you can see that because even Donovan Mitchell, he's really good, but James can control the game in a way that like even a Donovan Mitchell can't. Talk to us about like the James Harden experience, the good and bad of it, and like, do you feel like some of the more notable negative parts of that experience is overrated?
Well, first of all, let me say, y'all ain't getting this version of James. Let's just say, Houston James, you're not getting this version of James. Let's just say that right now. But no, man. Look, James in Houston, bro, that was literally one of the best moments in Houston sports history.
By the way, I'm nervous to talk to you about this because the last guy we had this conversation about, it didn't go well.
Yeah, but look, number 13, put it like this. He don't have no type of, I guess we could say, allegations that he had to overcome. Like the other guy that used to be in Houston wearing number 4, I believe he's a quarterback. And, people are still holding
there
on
are
to
allegations with James, but they are certainly not of the serious legal nature, right? They are of the Twitter nature, right?
Exactly. It's those type. And some of the allegations against James, you could say, well, maybe some of them was unfair because, you look at his time in Houston. If it wasn't for him going up against arguably, if not the best team of all time, and not one, not two, but 3 playoff series in the Golden State Warriors, and I believe 2 of those was with Kevin Durant, and you remember how unstoppable they were once they added KD. You're looking at a situation where he probably would have won a championship, and this whole narrative of him being a playoff choker would probably not exist. But that's neither here or there. But the one thing about James, I remember watching James in Houston, whether, as a fan when he first got there, when I finally started breaking into media. And the one thing about James Harden that I used to always hear is the fact that this is one of the smartest players that probably has ever played the game. And the fact that everything that he was doing in Houston, they knew without a shadow of a doubt that his game was going to age gracefully because his game did not rely heavily upon his athleticism. And and that was during like the prime of his career. We're talking about like 10 years ago. Now you're looking at a situation where James Harden is literally still being one of the best players, one of the best guards in the league, in my opinion. I'm not saying that just because I've literally watched this man's whole entire career, 90% of that being in Houston. But it's literally been fascinating to watch his game age gracefully and do it in a way to the point he is still productive. I mean, look, he's not going to go out there and give you the 40, 50 to 60-point triple doubles like he used to in Houston, but he still has an opportunity to have an impact on the game and make other players better. And when I started hearing rumors that Cleveland are going to make a run for him, I said to myself that is going to be very good for someone like Evan Mobley and Jaron Allen, because look, I don't know what it is about James, but you throw James with any type of center, he's going to make sure that center is going to have some of their
He made Clint
best
Capella a
performances of their
rich
career.
man.
Made Clint Capella a rich man. Got Isaiah Hardenstein. Like, I know a lot of people
Uh-huh.
think he exploded with the Oklahoma City Thunder, but no, he began laying those groundworks in Houston, playing alongside James, and
Mm.
even Zubac in Los Angeles, he basically had a resurgence in his career playing alongside James. So with James, man, it's just the fact that he can score, he can facilitate, he can do almost anything with the ball in his hands. Ironically, some of the stuff that he did learn and some of the developments that he had early on in his career that he is still carried to this day is literally him working alongside Coach JB Bickerstaff. Because at the time, during his early stages in
Mm.
Houston, Coach JB Bickerstaff was the assistant coach under Kevin McHale. And I had an opportunity to talk to both JB and James about that over these last 2 years since I've been in Detroit. They probably tired of me talking about it by now. But it's just the fact that he literally just has one of the best IQs in NBA history. I mean, look, I'm not comparing him to this guy because this guy's probably the best IQ in NBA history or top three. But you look at him and it's almost like a smaller version of LeBron James. Same thing. LeBron, look, we remember in the prime of his career how dominant he was with his athleticism, but we knew his game was going to age gracefully just off of his basketball IQ alone. And look what he's doing in Los Angeles. Understand that, that the Lakers are not this championship contending team. I think they just waiting for him to leave and he's waiting to go back home. Who's to say? But it's just another example as to, when you have a guy with a basketball IQ that high, it's just the impact. And I honestly do believe outside the Pistons, I really do think Cleveland has the second best chance coming out of the Eastern Conference because you got a guy in Donovan Mitchell who is still in his prime. You pair him alongside another guy in James Harden, who I keep saying has one of the best IQs in basketball history, and probably for what, the second time in his career, maybe the first time since he left Oklahoma City Thunder, he's literally not looked at as the guy or the number two option per se. Because when you take a look at the number two option, you have Evan Mobley, and Quincy, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but how it seems like Evan Mobley is starting to look back like the guy, the all-star caliber guy that we saw last year in those 6 or 7 games he has played alongside James Harden right now. So you look at that standpoint, you could possibly have one of the most lethal third options, scoring option alone in James Harden in Cleveland, of course, one of the best facilitators that we've ever seen in this game. So it's look, I understand as of right now, it's only been 7 games, and one thing about James, it doesn't matter where he go. The first month of James Harden is always going to be the best honeymoon stage that you probably will ever experience. I will say that it happens everywhere. Houston,
I
Brooklyn,
remember his first
Philly.
10 games in Houston were crazy.
Oh my goodness. I
Crazy.
remember the debut against the Pistons, by the way. I mean, he came to Houston, I want to say 2 or 3 games. I was still in college, like 2 or 3 days before the start of the
Hmm.
2012-2013 season. And all he did was record a 30 point, triple double. And I said to myself, oh, Houston got him one. But look, but I think after you look at Houston, you look at how the way things happen in Brooklyn, Philadelphia, Los Angeles. I don't want to knock Brooklyn against him because Brooklyn has some other stuff going on, but I don't think he's going to flame out in Cleveland because, like I mentioned, this is probably the first time since leaving OKC that he's not going to be asked or looked at to carry majority, if not the second most majority of the burden of that team. Because even though they got James Harden, who is still a lethal threat, when you take a look at the Cavs, you're still looking at Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley.
And Jared Allen has been getting 20 and 10 since James has arrived. He's been he done changed
You know
Jared
what I
Allen
mean?
life. It's like that
You know what
Drewski
I
meme.
mean?
Like, but it's been something. It's like even when you look at like the Nets where it's like he had Kyrie and Kevin Durant, it was like he still had to shoulder a lot of the playing load there because of the injuries. Well, not even injuries to Kyrie. That was just Kyrie's
Yeah,
peak
it was just a
Kyrie.
lot of mess.
Yeah, it was Kyrie just being peak Kyrie, right? Like everything you love and hate about Kyrie, right there.
Look, y'all
One
know.
season, one season. You look, he's so good, you just deal with it. But it's like, Kyrie's he's on one this year. Like it is what it is. But yeah, it's been an interesting career for him. I do think like Cleveland is just a natural. I think one of the things I noticed when he first got here and watched him play, I'm like, oh, he fits. Like again, you think of James and it's like what the media tells you James is. It's like, oh no, like the IQ, it stands out because a lot of the things that felt like they had friction with the Cavs offense, you put James in that lineup and it just flows smooth. And it's like, how is this happening? He just showed up. Like he did those first 4 games with Cleveland, no practice. Just like LA Fitness style. Just showed up, got his 5, and was like, hey, let's hoop. And I was like, this is the most pure hooper of all time. Like, just be like,
definitely.
yeah,
And
I got
I'm
my
glad
5.
that you
Let's run
mentioned
it.
I'm glad that you mentioned it because that's something I've always said. I say James is one of the most pure hoopers that's in NBA history. Like, if you put together a list of some of the most pure hoopers, and I'm not, and this is when you start talking about positionless basketball in a way. James Harden is definitely going to be top 5, top 3 on that list. Just pure hoopers alone.
Yeah, if we did not have the structure of the NBA was more like a LA Fitness thing where it's just like you show up, you hoop. James Harden would be the best hooper of all time. Nobody is on. Like, I think I had this point because I talked about this with somebody with Shador. Where I'm like, hey, if the NFL was just like 7-on-7, he would be really like he'd be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But it's not, right?
Yeah.
Like, you got to have that structure in there. And that's like, I don't think James struggles with it. It's just like, that's where I think James shines. It's just like, I love the hoop. Him and KD, probably, KD and Kyrie,
exactly.
Ironic enough, right? Probably would have been the best, like, oh yeah, those 3 guys at the rec getting run, like,
They ain't never getting off the court.
They ain't never getting off the court. Nobody's taking them off, right? But yeah, it's been fascinating to see the James experience. It's like there are some things you do know about James, his post defending, his perimeter defending. You know, he take a stab and he leave it at that. Right?
It comes and goes. I would say even as he continues to get older in the league, I would say his production on the defensive side of the ball in general is still better than like the prime of his career in Houston. Because at one point, it was literally just non-existent. You got to remember, like 10, 12 years ago, they had so many clips of how bad he was on defense. But, he was able to, learn how to use more so his body and his strength on the defensive side of the ball. And look, I know, once again, I understand he's getting older and everything, but I still see some flashes where he can still hold his own on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, I think he's not going to be as much of a liability like he once was in his career. Even more so that he's not going to be exerting that much energy on the offensive side of the ball as he once used to. So I think going to Cleveland has made the Cavs the second best team in the Eastern Conference. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe since he got to Cleveland, they have been the best team in the league.
Well, yeah, since then, and honestly, since the Cavs beat the Spurs, I think after they lost the Christmas Day game to the Knicks, they've had the best record in the NBA, or one of the best records. They lost a couple of games because they had all the injuries against Sacramento, against the Bucks last night, so they didn't win that game. And then they dropped the OKC game. But I think at a certain point, they had the best record in the NBA from that point on. And then they're starting to wake up too, right? I think that part of it is also like some of the guys who were slumping earlier in the year, they're back to shooting what they normally do. I mean, Sam Merrill has been pretty good, and then you get adding Jordan Tyson to that. It's funny because like before the James Harden trade, I don't think people understood how different the Cavs rotation was from last year because it was still Darius Garland, it was still Donovan Mitchell at the head of it. But now, after the the James Harden trade, people look around and go, oh, well, this rotation's way different, right? Because you have Jordan Tyson in there.
Yeah.
Sam Merrill's like a huge part of the rotation now, right? One of the best three-point shooters in the league. And then you have now Keon Ellis and Dennis Schroeder, who do add an element that I think has been needed from the Cavs. And it's funny because I think the Cavs-Pistons matchup is fascinating. Because these two teams are opposites, like complete opposites in how they're built, in philosophy, even though they share an architect, right? Like JB is the architect of both of these teams, but one team's undersized, right? And it kind of goes to show you a lot of the stuff we talk about, oh, this team's soft, this team's tough. It's about size. It's really Cade's a 6'8" point guard, right? Like look at Durden, okay? Look at that man, right? Like, yeah, he gonna get rebounds, dog. He giant. And then you have the Cavs who they're undersized. Like even Jared Allen, who's a center, he's what 6'9". I don't know what they have him listed at, but I don't think he's above 270. I can't imagine he's above 270 at 6'8", 6'9". There, Evan Mobley's not the biggest guy in the world. And they had to bring in a Keon and especially a Dennis Schroeder to kind of give him a little bit of an edge as a team, right? Because, we used to joke about, hey, this team might be too ethical. This team might be too polite. like nobody's
Dennis
willing.
is definitely not polite anymore. I will tell you that for sure.
I remember I was joking, like, we don't got nobody who's willing to commit a crime to win the game. We out here thinking about jaywalking sometimes. It's like, hey, dog, foul him. Like, take the chance. Maybe get the flagrant. It's okay. You just can't let him just go up in there, have free access like that. But with, you add that element there with those guys. I think James adds some weight to the starting lineup that I think they desperately needed. It's still not the best thing in the world that I think your backcourt is pound for pound stronger than your front court, but one problem at a time, right? And then you have the Pistons who, they're playing classic Detroit Pistons style bully ball, right? Like, it ain't going to be cute. It ain't going to be pretty. It's going to be physical. Like, I need to see the Knicks and them get into a second round battle because I'm like, that war attrition going to take out whoever make it out that series, right?
Oh,
Didn't y'all play the Knicks last year or was it the Celtics?
No, it was the Knicks.
Yeah.
It was the Knicks that
I remember, I was like, boy, it's physical. It's WWE. It's choke slams, all kind of stuff. And what, you got Beef Stew coming back? I forgot about Beef Stew. Y'all got Beef Stew coming back out there. That is, I think, a interesting hill to climb for the Cavs and an interesting hill to climb for Detroit because I think the complaint about Detroit is like, hey, can they keep up when the team can really score at a high volume? And I think for the Cavs, the big question people want to answer is, hey, can you answer a physical challenge? And, if these two teams meet up in the playoffs at any point, I think it's going to answer a lot of questions going forward for them, however much longer they have in the playoffs going for them. I think a win over either of these teams in the playoffs will give them a lot of confidence going into the rest of the playoffs if they go up against each other.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think as of right now, if I'm correct, the way the standings are, I think the Cavs are fourth in the Eastern Conference standing. Yeah,
tied
so
with
I mean,
3 with New York right now.
okay, cool. So depending on how that work out, this could potentially be a second round, a preview of the second round because we were recording this literally a day before the Cavs Pistons game here in Detroit, and then literally a week before they play against each other again, this time in Cleveland. But I liked how you mentioned that this game is literally going to be, or this matchup is going to be a battle of, basically who's going to be able to overcome their biggest detriment. And I'm glad that you mentioned scoring at a high volume for the Pistons because that is the one concern that I have about them getting closer to the playoffs. Like that game against the San Antonio Spurs. First of all, let me just say this. The Pistons cannot shoot threes for nothing. They are one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the league. And if Duncan Robinson can't get things going or Dennis Jenkins, this team is going to end up shooting 7 for 40. How do I know it? Because I literally just saw it live Monday against the San Antonio Spurs. Once the Spurs started connecting on threes, like there was nothing the Pistons could do. And I look at it from a standpoint, and this is something I've been harping on this entire year. If they cannot keep up, and I get it, I understand it. Every time we ask Coach JB Bickerstaff, you talk about the defense. There was one time when I asked him something similar. He talked about, it's he took like an analytical approach, talking about, you look at the percentages. Of course, the percentages is a lot higher if you score closer to the basket versus scoring from the outside. I get all that, I understand it, and I respect it to a certain extent. However, I look at it from a standpoint in a 7-game series, i.e., if you go up against a team like the Cleveland Cavaliers, and you got a guy in James Harden who already busted your behind for 50 to 55 points last year when you played against the Clippers. It's going to be one of those situations if a team gets hot and there is nothing that you can do in terms of, whether it's fixing your rotation and putting in more three-point shooting, or it's a situation like we saw Monday against the San Antonio Spurs where once Cade can't get going, that basically took the Pistons' whole entire offense out. That is going to be a detriment for this team. And That's literally their biggest struggle. And we saw it last night. We saw it against the Spurs. We almost saw it against the shorthanded Thunder team. Like, if they struggling from behind the arc, there is nothing that they can do. And it's actually sad. And once again, that's my biggest concern. I like if they lose in the second round, especially if it's a series against the Cavs where they have so much offensive power, whether it's James, whether it's Donovan, whether it's Evan Mobley. I hate the way people be sleeping on Evan Mobley sometimes, but if it's a situation like that, even Dennis Schroeder, who we saw how valuable he could be in the playoffs last year,
Mhm.
it's literally could be part of the reason why we look at the Pistons and be like, well, there you go, another number one seed in the Eastern Conference getting knocked out early in the second round.
Yeah, it'd be hilarious if it's the Cavs that do it to him. Who, I mean, they were the victim last year.
Ooh,
They got caught up with the
JB
Pacers.
would hate that, boy. I tell you, JB would hate that.
That's what I'm waiting to see because, like, so far the beef has been sizzling a little bit, right? But nothing's really made
It's
it
been
jump
there.
off. Yeah, like it's definitely there, right? But we haven't had the Chet Wemby. All right, Wemby just decided to make it public, like like moment in this beef yet. But it's been there, it's sizzling. I wonder. I wonder if all of these things, because the Detroit Pistons are doing exactly what the Cavs did last year and dominating the regular season, and the Cavs have kind of talked about like they're trying to do what the Pacers did last year, which is get hot at the right
At the
time.
right
The
time.
the juxtaposition of it's gonna feel like disrespect if you the Pistons, right? Because you out here like I'm 41 wins, and you out here like, nah, we did that last year, like. What you mean? Like, like that's not going to sit well if you the Pistons. You also got Dennis Schroeder, who knows everybody over there in Detroit because he was there a long time ago. And he's Dennis Schroeder, right? Like, he lives for confrontation. Like, he going to talk to JB about them reps, right? Like, he going to get JB hot about them reps.
Definitely.
And then I imagine James Harden infuriates somebody like JB because he always going to want to foul. And I feel like he gonna want to argue with James about the fouls that James is arguing with the referees about not getting, right?
The coach that he learned this from, by the way, I must say, because
Yes.
he actually told me a story in one of the scrums of like how him and James used to practice, drawing these fouls in like the early part of his career in Houston. And you remember James, man, he got to one point in his career like, oh my goodness, like they like put it like this. I watched James Harden so much in Houston to the point when people start complaining about Jalen Brunson flopping and drawing
In
fouls,
SGA.
I'll be like in SGA, I'll be sitting there like, that's cute. Like, because I've seen it before and I've seen it done 10 times worse with that guy. So
James is the one who taught KD about the rip through. Right, like
exactly,
like,
exactly.
Like,
So I think that's why when they look at SGA, they look at Jalen Brunson, and they talk about foul baiting and all that. Even Trey Young, I guess that's why it don't bother me that much, only because I'm like I've seen it before, and I've seen it with James, and he did it 10 times worse, 10 times better, whichever side of the pole you want to fall on.
you the only guy out there be like, oh, y'all think that's foul baiting? Let
Y'all
me show you
think
some real foul baiting.
exactly.
Right here.
It got
y'all
so
youngsters
bad.
don't know.
They don't know, man. I remember it got so
James'
bad to
most
the point.
attempted shot used to look like this.
Exactly. Like I remember it got so bad. They was playing against the Hawks, and I remember the Hawks was like, they was defending him by holding their hands behind their backs just to show that they are not fouling this guy. That's how bad it was.
Him, Kevin Love, and Chris Paul got that one rule about 3-point shots invented. Like the one where you have to be vertical going up to get the foul or else it's a tech on you. That is
exactly
those three guys' fault. Like, and nobody else got that rule more than them, right? But yeah, I do think it's fascinating, the juxtaposition. I mean, like the shared history here. You got Karis LeVert, a former Cavalier. Didn't feel like when he got shipped out, he wasn't happy about it, right? I wonder y'all just gonna find a way to, grab Darius Garland from the Clippers and just like get a complete set right there for JB.
I mean, probably because if they flame out in the second round and it's due to, not having enough offensive firepower or, a true secondary ball handler, then, maybe that might be in the works. Who knows?
It
And correct me
feels
if I'm
like
wrong.
that's a summer move. Right?
Exactly. And correct me if I'm wrong. JB literally did have a good relationship with Darius Garland, right?
He called him his son.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure because it seemed like JB had a pretty good relationship with a lot of those guys over there, except for Donovan Mitchell, I want to say.
Him and Donovan wanted more out the offense, right? And JB ain't that kind of guy, right? Like JB's not. That's what got JB fired. But like when Darius got that contract, there's a video of him crying, like at the dinner where they're presenting the contract to Darius. So like, yeah, I think Darius to Detroit is happening. Like I don't know if anybody has put that one out there, but like that would be the least shocking move in the world if like y'all got him from the Clippers, because I don't imagine the Clippers got him to keep him long term. He's probably an asset that they feel like they can flip once he gets healthy to a team that needs it. Because they're looking at what, Orlando and you guys, like one of them teams gonna want Darius, right? Like one of them
probably.
And they're gonna have less hesitation about doing it because they're not in the East.
Yeah, and I would say, about JB, I do like how open JB has been about, what kind of transpired in Cleveland and, basically learning from it. Because, I just heard you say, like, with Donovan wanted more out the offense. And, I followed JB basically his entire career, like from when he was an assistant to the interim to Memphis to Cleveland and now here in Detroit. This is the most I've literally seen JB literally put together the best offensive scheme that I can honestly say that I've seen in his career. Now, look, when he was in Cleveland and Memphis, I didn't watch every single game when he was the head coach like I do now, literally front and center. But if there is a playoff series between these guys, you guys are going to see that JB has learned and taken a lot from his time in Cleveland, and rightfully so, because that literally catapulted him into one of the most respectable coaches in the league. Not saying that he wasn't that in Memphis already, but it's literally another reason as to why the Pistons are why the Pistons have been where they are where they have gone ever since he has been the head coach of the Pistons, because he was able to utilize that, take not just the good but also the bad, build upon that, and execute it here in Detroit.
Yeah, definitely. I think JB, he's finally gonna get that coach of the year because he didn't get it last year.
He
Kenny
definitely deserves
He's
it.
definitely
He
getting that
definitely
coach of the year
deserves it this year, man. I don't know what happened last year. Even last year, I'm like, that should have been JB's, because I mean, he basically that was a situation Kenny just walked into that JB already had built.
I think by the time they were voting, it looked like the Cavs could win 70. And that was why, like, they were going.
Yeah, I remember that. But no, JB definitely is going to get that Coach of the Year honor this year.
It's going to be. I hope these two teams play, because I do think it's going to be a war. I think both teams have a lot to prove. I think both teams are like, the Cavs have had a chip on their shoulder for a while now. I think the Pacers series, I mean, they still talk about it, right? Like, they're still upset about it. So they're going to go into, especially if it's the second round, and all that shit about Donovan in the second round, all this shit about James in the second round, right? Like, I think they're tired of hearing it. And if you're the Pistons, you think the Cavs should get out the way. It's your time, right? Like, it's like the Cavs kind of like, it's funny now to think of it, but like, if you look at like the Cavs, like Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, if you're the Pistons, you're looking at them like old heads almost, like, like,
yeah, no way.
I used to watch James Harden in high school, which I do think is like an interesting evolution of James Harden's career, and why I wonder if like maybe Cleveland could be like what the Rams were to Matt Stafford, where it's like James Harden's going to get to Cleveland, and everywhere else he's been, he's had peers on that roster, like people he's been playing basketball with forever. They know him as James. They call him the Beard, whatever it is, right? Everybody on that Cleveland roster and every other roster he's going to be on now, because like he's not with Kawhi anymore. That's James Harden, right? Like that's a different. They'll listen to you a lot easier because you're James Harden, right? And if you're Donovan Mitchell, Donovan Mitchell, what, 30 years old? James Harden, 36?
Yeah.
James Harden got into the league. Donovan Mitchell was out there trying to figure out if he wanted to go to Louisville or not, right? Like, this is James Harden been in the league for a long time, putting up buckets for a long time. If you're Evan Mobley, like, I don't even want to think about how young Evan Mobley was when James got traded to Houston, right? Like,
he was pretty young. He was pretty young, man.
Like you're playing with the era of kids who don't even know about six-man James Harden right now.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
So, like, I do think where the opportunity is for James is like, because they look at him that way. Sometimes with the playoff stuff, it's about how you feel about yourself, and you feel about yourself in those moments. And I wonder if him being in a different light, like everybody looking at James to be like, no, that's legendary James Harden. Not, oh, James can't get it done in the playoffs. They thinking about the legend. If that gives him a different level of confidence in how he can operate, and it makes him more kind of LeBron-like in that way. Because I remember when LeBron got to that point in his career, around like, really it was like 2018.
Yeah, it was like 18, 19.
Yeah, 2018. Once Kyrie went, right? Like Kyrie's the last person who refused to see LeBron as anything but a peer, right? like that was the whole beef between those two. Was Kyrie was like, I'm your peer. I'm not looking up to you, LeBron. But yeah, it was like when LeBron got to the point, it was a different level of confidence from him that got unlocked. And it's like he's not worried about the narratives at that point, right? He's LeBron James. Everybody look at him. They call him king. They don't even know him, right? So I wonder with James not having the pressure on him, like you said, not having everything be on his shoulders, and then also, like he's legitimately 10 years older than Evan Mobley, right? Like, I think he's somebody where the age gap helps him, especially amongst basketball players, because like fans think what they want about James. That's not what them players think about James. Yeah, James, KD, and Kyrie, again, ironically enough, right, that they were all three together in Brooklyn and made each other miserable at certain points. But it's like those are the three guys where it's like, yeah, you might get a fan to say something bad about those dudes. You ain't never gonna get anybody who had like a 6-year career in the NBA to say anything about those guys other than they can hoop. Like those are hoop
for James special. He's still special.
You love basketball. You're like they are the ultimate answer to your favorite basketball player's favorite player, right? Like it's like it's usually James, Kyrie, or KD because of how they can get their shots and just how skilled they are. And I think he's just seen in a different light now by the people on his team. And I wonder if that changes a lot for him. And it's like it's like being a father almost. Like it's like you feel that extra brunt of responsibility. It's like maybe I don't go to the strip club when we in Dallas.
Nah, he ain't gonna never. That ain't gonna never be an option for him. I can tell you that for a fact.
Or it's like when you there at the strip club, I'm gonna give him game. I'm gonna build chemistry.
Yeah, that's more realistic right there. That last analogy, that's more realistic right there.
I heard it was Magic City night in Atlanta.
Which is crazy, by the way. Which is crazy. I saw that. I was like, damn, why they couldn't do that when the Pistons were in town?
I was like, let's make sure James has a game that day. Like, hey, y'all, James Harden in the crowd. Like,
oh my gosh.
I just wanted to see what was at halftime. Like, okay, James.
I can't believe Atlanta did that, man. I can't believe it, but I can believe it, and it's part of the reason why it's one of my favorite NBA cities, man.
I was about to say, I believe everything that comes out of Atlanta, man. Like, especially somebody who lives here, I believe everything I've ever seen about Atlanta. Like, AI don't exist here, dog. AI can't make up what goes on here. I was on the belt line and saw a man walking upside down for a mile. He wasn't selling nothing. He was just doing it. I'm like, yeah, Atlanta. And by the way, for those of you who've never been to Atlanta, yes, it was a brother.
Oh man, Atlanta, man. When I saw that, I was like, man, why did you do that when the Pistons
I saw a group of young black men on unicycles. I was like, you ain't never gonna see that anywhere else. It was 16 kids in unicycles, and I was like, that's crazy. I ain't never seen nothing like that. You see a black synchronized swim team in Atlanta. You see everything out here. But yeah, it is certainly a crazy place. In Magic City, in State Farm Arena, is probably the least craziest thing I've heard about Atlanta all week. And honest to God, when I saw that pop up, Cole, you know what my first instinct was?
What?
I wonder if they're gonna have the wings. Like,
Of course.
I wonder
Of course.
if this means that they're gonna open up a wing station at State
They got to,
Farm.
man. They
Yeah,
got to. They got
because
to.
I might go down. Like,
I mean, at this point, you have to. It has
yeah.
to be something for them to have Magic City as a game
Look,
night
cause
sponsor.
you ain't
Two
trying to go
wings and
under the
everything.
highway all the time to get them wings, dog. Like if I can get them
No,
at State Farm,
no.
I might do it. Like,
Exactly, and if they be like, hey, we got the wings, here at State Farm Arena moving forward. I know where I want to be for the first round of the playoffs. I'm like,
hey,
please let the
yeah,
Hawks make
yeah.
it.
Somebody go get in line. Do they have garlic parmesan? Nah.
Nah,
Nah. They got lemon
that's so
pepper,
special right there.
lemon pepper spicy, lemon pepper Cajun, lemon pepper jerk. Okay, like 18 flavors of lemon pepper. It don't even make sense. Like they got lemon pepper barbecue. That don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. What do you mean lemon pepper barbecue? I'll try it. Like, but
Man.
I want to thank you for coming on, COTY. Appreciate you for joining us. Make sure you check out COTY's work. Where can they find your work at, man?
You can find my work on all of my social media platforms at COTY Davis _24. Once again, that's COTY COTY DAVIS _24. All my articles, podcasts are over at the Detroit News.
All right, man. Go ahead and check him out. He's done great work. And look, Cavs Pistons, I don't think this is going away anytime soon.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I depending on how things fall between the Knicks and Cavs, this definitely could be a second round series.
And look, you're going to be thinking in the back of your head, do I really want to eliminate them if you have them on the brink? Because you know they're going to bring in LeBron.
I know, right? I know. So that's the nuts. So it's like, okay, we eliminate them, yay. But then if they go on and win, then that means, we don't have to worry about a certain number 23 coming back.
And they got
but
them
if
old
we
jerseys
eliminate
back.
them,
They're going to
I
bring
know.
out the same
Which, by the
jerseys
way,
he was
man,
wearing.
By the way, when I saw the Cavs was bringing back those blue jerseys, I was like, LeBron been in the league so long to the point
He got a
the
retro.
jersey is that he got a retro that he could play against them in. That is crazy, bro. That is crazy.
No, like I was talking about this. You ever want to like blow your mind? Look at all the players that had their whole careers happen in LeBron's like prime. Like Blake Griffin, whole career, Miami post. Dwight Howard, whole career. Hall of Fame, whole career
Chris
plus
Paul.
Inducted to the Hall of Fame.
Yes, Chris Paul, Melo, like D-Wade, like everybody from like 2003 to what, 2018, you might as well
Rajon
say?
Rondo.
I mean, John
like
Wall,
Rondo,
Bradley Beal. Like,
Rondo was a young
crazy.
dude in LeBron's 7th year. Yeah,
Man,
John
crazy,
Wall is
man.
crazy. John Wall is insane. Like,
I think John Wall's rookie year was LeBron's first year in Miami, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, like
And the
Jeff
fact that he
Teague has a
literally
whole
came to
career
win.
as one of the most popular podcasters on in America right now.
Yes.
Whole career.
And at this point, you might as well throw Paul George in there. You might as well throw Paul George in there as well. And Joel Embiid.
We already have the list of players that you can have speaking in LeBron's documentary, either retired or about this close, right? To retire.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. Ahmad
I
Shumpert,
actually
Smith.
thought about that a couple of days ago. Like, dang, I was like, if the Cavs and Pistons meet each other and the Pistons, eliminate them, I was like, man, that means next year, the farewell tour, the Pistons going to have to go through Cavs.
And look, LeBron going to play against the Pistons and just get back in the 07. Like,
I know that's another one thing I thought about. Cause boy, that's people in the organization still got nightmares about that.
Oh yeah, he got 58 points. Well, Kobe got 58 in that last game. Don't want to know what a LeBron farewell performance looked like. But he's got to do it. He's got to do it in Cleveland. So we'll see what happens here.
He definitely will. But
again, thank y'all for joining. Y'all have a great day. Have a better night. Peace.